Hello guys, have you been wondering if you should buy yourself a SG2 smartwatch? Well, today we're going to answer this question for you for once and for all. So, I've been waiting for this watch for over a month and a half. Nothing to do with the coronavirus, it's just the way the current customs regulations are and everything's taken forever. But I've received the box in such a state, as you can see it at the minute. The seller kindly put those little protective films to go with the watch, so yeah, that's what it is. Let's unbox it and see what's inside. So inside you'll find the watch itself, and this time I decided to go for a white strap, and the watch itself is a silver. Down at the bottom of the box you'll find the manual, both in English and Chinese, and you'll also find a magnetic wireless charger. So this is a fully wireless charger. It's not one of those chargers where you're gonna have to align your pins or you're gonna have to put your watch in a particular way. That's not the case with this charger, and that's the first positive note about this SG2 smartwatch. So all you have to do is to you're gonna take your watch and you're just gonna pop it down. It's got a very light magnetic field, so the watch just stays nice and sort of firm on the charger itself. So it's going to be like this on your table, and they're going to start charging no matter how you're going to put your watch down. So it doesn't really matter how you're going to put your watch down. You don't have to align pins, so that's a big positive, big thumbs up for this little charger here. As I usually do, let me throw some of the figures first of all, and then we'll talk about the design of the watch. So first of all, the price. These are currently retail on AliExpress for $38 US, depending on where you're gonna buy it and who you're gonna buy it from and how many straps you're gonna have with it and so on. The screen size is 1.2 inches across with a resolution of 390 by 390 pixels. So that's quite a density there. And this is also a first-time AMOLED display in a budget watch, so we'll take a look at this closer later on as well. The watch features Bluetooth 5.1, which means that they're going to stay well connected to your phone. The battery inside of the watch is 230 milliamp battery, and provided that all of the functions are on 24 hours, 7 days a week, they should last you a week and a half to 2 weeks, which is not too bad. The processor of this watch is Nordic NRF 52840, for those who are into that sort of information. The app that we're going to take a look later on is called H+ Fit, and that's the app that you're going to use to connect this watch to your phone. And obviously this is where you're going to download your extra watch faces and all those things, and we'll talk about that later on. And this watch do come with an IP68 rating, meaning that you can take it for a swim, you can take it to a shower, as long as it's not a hot shower or just a warm or cool shower. And obviously the rain, the washing of the dishes and things like that is not going to affect this watch whatsoever. So, and the final thing to mention is this watch will work with Android 4.4 or above or later, and iOS 9.0 or later as well. Otherwise this watch is not going to actually connect to your phone. So make sure that your Android is up to date and your iOS version is up to date as well. So let's talk about the build quality of the watch itself. So the strap is quite usual. This is like an Apple Watch design, so the strap is going to be hidden underneath there. That's how the watch looks on the wrist. I'm gonna align it next to Halo Solar, so you can see the difference in size, hopefully. In my opinion, that's not a very masculine design, whereas the Halo Solar manages to nail it because it looks decent on obviously a male wrist or female wrist. It doesn't really matter, it looks good. This is a slightly smaller design, smaller bezel, so therefore it's not really my cup of tea, but we'll come back to that later on. The rear side of the watch is all made out of glass, so this is glass, so your sensors are protected by the glass. It looks very neat, it looks very stylish as well. The side of the watch is all made out of aluminium, and the screen itself is a hardened glass, and it came with this little film protector pre-installed on the watch as well. And like I said, the seller actually kindly included extra protective films down here at the box as well. So, but I'm not going to be using those. I'll explain later on why. And that's how it looks. On the right side, you've got 2 physical buttons, usual stuff, on and off, and return button to a main menu. So let's take a closer look at the watch itself in the menu department, and I'll scroll through some of the watch faces for you first of all. So that's the watch face that's going to be pre-installed on your watch by default when you're going to unbox it first of all. And we'll scroll through some of those and you'll have a look. There's only a limited number of watch faces available on the watch at any given time, but you can download more via the app, and we're going to be switching to that later on, and I'll show you how to do it. And also I'll talk about the app later on as well. So now let's take the inner menus of the watch and I'll show you how it works. So by scrolling from top to bottom, you get this access to quick settings, so things like your brightness of the screen. There are only 3 brightness levels, so minimum, medium and highest. You can see the remaining battery charge as well, and this is a QR code if you want to use it to download the app for the watch. Then by scrolling from left to the right, this is where you're going to find all your text messages or all of your infos coming from all the apps that you're going to allow to come through via the app, and we'll talk about that later on as well. If you scroll from bottom to top, gives you the access to the current weather situation. Unfortunately, it only shows the weather for today. It doesn't show you the weather like the Halo Solar does. So for instance, if you press that, it'll show you today's weather and it'll show you the next 3 days as well. So that's quite, I find it quite handy, but if you're not into that, it's not going to be a big deal for you. And then let's dive deeper into the main menu. So by scrolling from right to the left, it first introduces you to how many steps you've done today and how many calories you've burned. So a quick overview of your progress for a day. Then it will tell you and show you the your last night's sleep tracking. Obviously, you can flick through the history as well. And then if you scroll further, this is where you're going to find your heart rate and heart measurement, sort of blood pressure thing, and oxygen and ECGs and all those things. So what we'll do right now is we'll take a heart measurement so you can see how it works. So I'll pop it on my wrist. So as you can see, it's not the quickest sensor, but it does the job, and it usually gets around sort of normal figures. So let's say 80 beats per minute, or maybe 70 or 90. So I wouldn't rely on it, and by now most of us do know that you shouldn't rely on these sensors entirely, but it gives you somewhat accurate results. So I'm fairly impressed with that. Then you've got your sports mode. So the next obviously sub menu is your sports mode. So you've got things like running, walking, playing tennis, riding bikes and hiking, and playing table tennis. And if you press that portion in the middle of the screen, that will give you extra access and extra sport sort of divisions. And you can see there's a rope skipping, and if you press arrows at the top, that will bring you down to a light jogging and also swimming and a yoga exercises as well. So that's nice to see. And then if you go furthermore, that's where you're going to find your music control option. So you can control the volume, you can skip your tracks, you can play and pause your music. That works like a treat as well, because obviously it's got a Bluetooth 5.1, so the connection is quite good, so you're not going to be disappointed with that. Then we're going down to our main settings menu, and this is where you can find your phone. You've got your timer, so you can set your timer if you're cooking anything or like things like that. If you're doing some sports, or maybe like running around in circles, or you're doing some I don't know, motocross or car racings and things like that, and you need a timer, stopwatch, you've got that as well on board. You can reset the settings, you can turn on off your alarm, but you're going to have to set your alarm times in the app. And then if you press that middle portion again, that gives you an extra options, amongst of which you'll find a remote camera control, which you can see there. And this is probably the main icon you're going to be looking for in this watch, because as you're probably aware by now, these do have always on display. That's the second positive thing about this watch, and it brings them ever so close to Apple Watch in terms of options, unlike other budget watches of this price. So if you click on that icon, what it will do, it'll scroll it and it'll go all the way up. And when you've chosen your option, that's how you're going to be using it. Because I was really confused first time I've opened and unboxed this watch, and I really didn't realize how to use them. So I thought, yeah, I'll click that again. That didn't work. Then I've chosen something else. And every single time you choose an icon, it keeps on coming back to the top. And at that point, all you really have to do is you're just going to have to click the writing in the middle of the screen. So bright dial, you click on that, that will pop up this menu, and you can either turn it on or off. So as long as it is in on option, that's going to leave you with an always on display. And the way it works, right now it's full brightness, it's fully operational, and if you give it 5 seconds, it'll dim itself like that, and it will stay like that for 24 hours every single day unless you turn this option off. And the minute you touch the screen, it lights up again and it looks sort of as normal. So I think that's the end of the menu. Let's just double check. Yeah, so if you keep on scrolling, you'll come back to your main watch face, and that's about it. So what we'll do right now is we'll jump into the app, and I'll show you a little bit more about the app of this watch, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to summarize today's video for you guys. Right guys, so this is the app that you're going to be using for SG2 watch. The first screen shows you some of the basic information about your recent heart rate readings and how many steps you've done and all those things. Then if you click further, that's going to show you your activity information about for the day, for the week, for the month, and so on. This is where you're going to find your extra watch faces, and it's only that many of them available to download extra. And since I've purchased this watch, which has been about 2 weeks that I've been using that, none of those have actually expanded. The library hasn't expanded, so that's what you should expect anyways. And to be honest with you, it's not really overwhelming, and every single time you're going to try to download one of those watch faces to your watch, it's going to take at least 30 minutes to download it, regardless of what sort of internet connection you've got. It's just the way the app is being made for the watch. It's just really crap, to be honest with you. And then you've got the Me information furthermore. This is where you can go to settings, really basic settings, and you can change things about my device. So like for instance, you can allow your notifications, you can turn all the heart rate sensor to work all the time and all those things, and you can turn on and off the options for lift wrist. So when you're going to be lifting your wrist, it's going to turn the screen automatically and all those things. Personally, I'm really disappointed with this app. I don't think it's one of the best out there, so that's what you should expect with SG2. So now that you've seen how the app looks, it's my time to reflect on this. It's my time to express my thoughts and feelings about this watch. I'm really disappointed. I don't think they're really worth $38 US, because although they're well built and they do look alright, they're not really suited for men, because like I said, on the wrist they look really minute. They don't look sort of masculine. I don't like that. Also, the sales point was the AMOLED display with 390 by 390 pixels, which is all well and good, but it's in such a small factor, which is 1.2 inches, which is minute, it's tiny. You don't really appreciate a screen of that size with that resolution. If it was larger screen with that resolution, it would have been much better, but this is not my real cup of tea. I don't like the heart rate sensor that's on board of this watch. I think it's slightly out of date, because a Halo Solar, which is actually a lot cheaper, because that's a $20 US watch. The screen looks alright, and yes, the resolution is not the best, but the heart rate sensor works all the time. As you can see, the figures there, they continually going to be changing. So it says 85, 83, 82. It's continually updates itself. And also things like obviously you can see your weather for the next 3 days and all those things, and the menu itself looks fairly decent, and I just love it. I really love this watch. So SG2, unfortunately, it's not my cup of tea. It's too expensive. It's too fiddly. I don't like the menu. I don't like that in some of the options you're gonna have to go in and you're gonna have to find it and you're gonna have to click it. I don't have time for that. I wanted everything to be right there. I want to have the most important things. And with the Halo, you can actually go into the app and you can control what sort of settings you're gonna leave in your watch, or what sort of settings you're gonna completely delete and you're never gonna see them on this watch as well. So that's my opinion. If you've got any more questions, don't hesitate, leave your questions down below and I'll do my best to answer your questions as soon as I can. And if you like this video, don't forget to put your thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. And I'd just like to take this opportunity to actually thank you all who subscribed so far and who follow this channel. And I hopefully I'm doing a good job. So anyway guys, until the next one, I'll see you later.